Currently, if I visit Lore.Land in my browser, it redirects to GitHub, this repository called Lore.Land. The description is the official canon for Lore.Land. At the moment, there's one pull request that I just made a couple of hours ago. It's the initial main.swoop file, and in it has the seeds for the content that I want to be on the sites. For each of the sites, Boon, Bane, Bone, Bonk, Honk, Boof, and then Lore.Land would be the aggregate of these. There's a story in the square brackets that come after the location. Once upon a time in Boonland there was a cactus. Once upon a time from Baneland emerged a dragon. Once upon a time Boneland was holding a concert. Once upon a time in Bonk City, the Watering Eye had a problem. Once upon a time in Honkland, 9 honks were being forged. Once upon a time in Boofland, Boof was preparing for the Blueberry Ball. So all of these I came up with myself. I didn't use any artificial intelligence to determine the start of this story. I have a seed on my other profile, on my Squashy profile, that has the custom instructions for ChatGPT that can turn these into actual stories. Also, if I visit Boon.Land, there's a passphrase which is currently something, and I can click the Boon button 3 times, and that'll copy to my clipboard a statement that pretty much matches what is in the current Lore.Land repository. So the premise is that every day I will update these sites so that they will have a new seed, and depending on how people interact with it, they can submit pull requests to change the lore of Lore.Land. And I think this is going to be an interesting way that stories can be told in the future. I think there's a lot of confusion right now about where AI should be versus where writers should be, or artists in general. And I don't necessarily think that that discussion is being had by people who are both in technology and also artists. Consuming art is different than creating it, and there's a certain element of novelty that comes from knowing that somebody is genuinely pouring their soul into the work that's coming. The amount of noise that comes from AI models without really understanding what they were trained on prevents us from actually relating to the content. So what I'm positing is that I can post this kind of structure, these seeds for a story, and people can generate them using whatever model they want. They can expand these stories however they want to, or use these ideas in their own art. That isn't going to mean anything if there's just a whole bunch of content that isn't associated with a specific story about a person experiencing humanity.